Okay. I am thrilled to be talking to you guys about mindset today. This happens to be my favorite topic, my absolute favorite topic, and I'll tell you why. First of all, if this is your first time on a live here with me, my name is Gwen. It's so nice to see you here. Thank you for being here. I'm hoping you guys can hear me okay. This has been a topic that a lot of you have asked for, and so here I am. Here's why mindset is one of my absolute favorite topics. Ready? First of all, let's just get situated. Mindset is the thing that allowed me to create success in my business. Now, it's not the thing on its own, but it was a huge contributing factor. And I know after working with multiple clients that most people who want to grow successful online businesses don't go out looking for the mindset work. It is not their first thing they think they need. They think they need the how-to, the skill set, and they do. But if they only have that and they don't have the mindset, they won't see success. And vice versa. If you only have the mindset, but you don't have the skill set, you won't see success. I should probably plug my computer in. Wait, can I plug this computer in? Let's do this. Hold on, guys. Bear with me. Like, I feel like we're going to lose. Okay, we're plugged in. So you can't have one without the other, and you actually need both to be able to create success. So let's just talk about what mindset actually is, because it's like this ominous term that everyone throws around, and you're like, but I do have a good mindset, but what does that even mean? Okay. So we've all probably heard the terms fixed mindset versus growth mindset. Fixed mindset is a belief system that we were given, that we were taught, or whether or not you know it, you inherited it. Inherited it. You're welcome. From your parents, your teachers, people who have been influencers in your life. And by influencer, I don't mean social media influencer. I mean like the people that you spend a lot of time with and that you learn from. We inherit a mindset, a belief system about the world and about all these different things inside of it, specifically money and success, from the people who are closest to us. Growth mindset is when we believe that our beliefs can change and we go and we make that happen. Okay. And this happens through learning, through effort, through persistence. Why is mindset the foundation of success? I know you guys have probably heard me say a million times, we create our own reality. I truly believe, and it's the reason why I got this tattoo, which is so hard to show you. This is the triple goddess, and she is looking out into the universe, okay? And she knows that everything that she wants is available to her in the universe. So everything that you want right now, let's say you want a business that makes $1 million a year. Let's say you want that. Let's say you want a marriage that is wholesome and happy and healthy. Let's say you want a family. All the things that you want are out there. They're out there. A future version of you already has them. And your only job as a human here on this earth is to become an energetic match for that thing so that you magnetize it to you. I like to think about, this is so weird. I like to think of myself as a refrigerator. Most people's refrigerators have all these magnets on them, right? So I'm the middle standing ground refrigerator. I'm not going anywhere. Pretty heavy, pretty thick. What I want, I'm pulling to me and I'm sticking to me. It's like a magnet, right? Our mindset is the foundation because we create our reality. If we focus on becoming an energetic match for that one thing, let's just take one thing at a time. We will focus and become the same frequency, which means that we get to have that thing pulled down to us. If we don't focus on it and we just go about our life wondering when it will happen, wondering why it's not happening, we are not an active participant in our life because these things don't just happen to us. We work for them. I don't know if that's a good answer for you or a bad answer for you. It should be a good answer for you because it means that you can have whatever you want. Let me say that again. It means that you can have whatever you want. So if you want a successful business, you can have it. It already exists out there in the universe. Your future self already has it. You just need to pull it down to your current self. I hope that's making sense so far. Okay, we create our reality. Would you rather be the creator or let the world create it for us? Which one would you prefer? If we let the world create it for us, what do we get? Has anyone ever seen that video of the doctor's office where there's a doctor's office full of people in the waiting room and a bell goes off? And this one person in this waiting room of like 10 people stands up when the bell goes off and then sits back down. The bell goes off again. This one person stands up, sits back down. Bell goes off again. This one person stands up and sits back down. And this person keeps doing it. And eventually what happens? Bell goes off. And not only the person who first stood up, but somebody else stands up. And they stand up kind of like, I don't really know why I'm standing up, but I think I need to stand up because that person's standing up. And they stand up and they sit back down. And this happens as people get called into the doctor's office. This continues to happen. The bell goes off, someone stands up, they sit back down. Multiple people at this point are standing up and sitting back down when the bell goes off. New person walks into the waiting room. Hasn't been present in this whole time. Bell goes off, a bunch of people stand up, sit back down. The new person's like, what does the new person do? New person on the bell stands up and sits back down. That's what we get. What we get. That's what we get when we let the world create our reality. We don't want that. Okay? We don't want to be doing things because everyone else is doing them and we don't really understand why. Knowing why you're doing things in your life, if you can't explain why, then here's your chance to figure out why. Okay? And if the why doesn't align with your goals, then it's time to ditch it. Please do not hear me say, quit your job. Okay, if your job is not aligning with your future goals, yes, you can eventually work towards quitting it, but let's just be responsible, financially responsible adults here. Especially if we've got kids to feed and roofs over our head, we've got to have an income. Okay, so if you have an income, you have a job right now, you don't love it, you don't want it to be your future, and you're working on creating something else so that it doesn't have to be your future, just because you realize it's not aligning with your goals, do not quit it. Oftentimes, we can use our job to fund our side hustle, to fund our business until our business takes off, and then we don't need it anymore. That's magic. That's possible, right? So I don't mean quit your job. Let's be reasonable and financially responsible adults, okay? But here's your permission. I like to think of mindset as the beach. Now, I love the beach, so I can relate pretty much anything to the beach. But you know how you're walking on the beach and there are these like divots in the sand. And the divots in the sand are created by the water flowing in and the water flowing out. And some of these divots are really, really deep, or channels, okay? They're really deep setted in the sand. And even when the water flows back out, the divots don't go away. They still sit there. You can still see them in the sand because the water has flown in and flown out and flown in and flown out, like over and over and over and over and over again, that we have these divots in the sand, these channels in the sand. So it doesn't take very much effort for the water to find the same divot when it flows back in and come right back down that same channel. That's our mindset right now. Those are our beliefs in our mind right now. We've got all these channels that are so deeply set, and we didn't necessarily put some of them there. But because we've heard them, seen them, been taught them time over time over time, they're pretty deep and they're pretty ingrained. And so it takes a lot of time to undo them. Growth mindset is realizing that we can create new channels, prettier, healthier, happier channels that actually flow to something great in our life. Okay, so we have to start shifting our mindset. How do you know that your beliefs are limiting or challenging? How do you know what's holding you back? Well, we get to take a look at the words that we use. Once you start, we're going to talk about awareness a lot here. Okay. And the reason we're going to talk about awareness is because you can go through life like the people in the doctor's office, standing up at the bell and sitting down at the bell, standing up at the bell and sitting down. You can go through life like that and be okay, right? Like you could get through life, your entire life that way. But when you become aware that there's another waiting room where the bell goes off, but no one stands up, and they're all okay too, you're like, huh, I'm aware that that's a possibility. And maybe I don't want to stand up and sit back down and stand up and sit back down again. What if I just want to be over there? Well, they look healthier, they look happier. They're not standing up and sitting down at the bell, right? You become aware that that exists. And once you bring something into your awareness, now you know. And that's what I love about Creators Corner, the community that we've created, because this is sorry, the door just slammed, it scared me. This community where people are sharing what's happening in their life and their business, what they've created as possibilities, what they are achieving, creates awareness for you. This is why people would share their income, right? And this is what got me started. I was like, wait a second. I mean, I knew people owned businesses, but I didn't know that women were home running a business making that much money. Like, I didn't even know that was possible. Once I was aware of the amount of money that people were making in the digital space, I couldn't unsee that, right? They say once you see it, you can't unsee it. Well, this is one of those things. Once you see what's possible for people who are not standing up and sitting down to the bell, then you know that that exists and you don't have it. And so you know it's possible and you decide you want it. So we have to start creating new channels to get to that waiting room so we're not in this waiting room anymore. We have to look at the words that we use, the language that we use, the thoughts that we have every single day that are making us stay in this waiting room. I know I've said this a million times before, and I've probably told you about this phrase, but I use this phrase called cancel, cancel, delete, delete. And that's literally the hand movements that I do with them every time. Cancel, cancel, delete, delete. And this is like one of those sand rakes. So you've seen those little they're like little sand piles. I don't know what they're called. Like a little sensory sand pit where you can take a rake and you can carve like all these different patterns, and then you can like take the rake and smooth it out again and make a different pattern. You could just keep doing that. It's so satisfying and it's just like calming, right? So I like to think about cancel, cancel, delete, delete, cancel, cancel, delete, delete as one of those sand rakes. So when I say something that I don't want to be true, let's say I say like, well, I've never made more than $80,000 a year, so I really doubt that my business will be able to make anything close to $80,000 a year. That is a belief set to what I've been trained to believe, what I've seen in my life, what's happened to me in my workforce. I had a boss who didn't see my value, who reduced my salary by $15,000 because he told me that he did the research and no other audiologist in the state that I worked in, was making that much money. And so he reduced my salary by $15,000. Now I had a mindset and a belief that because he did that, that must be true. I must not be worth more than what I was making. So therefore, I thought in my business when I started 8 years ago that I couldn't make more than that amount. And I didn't for years and years and years because I had this ingrained mindset that I couldn't, that I wasn't worthy of it. Okay, but now when those thoughts and those beliefs and those things pop into my mind, let's say I said it, well, I've never made more than 80,000 a year, so I really doubt my business will be able to bring in that much up. Cancel, cancel, delete, delete. And then you get to enter a new phrase, the belief that you want. So we reframe it. Although I've never made more than $80,000 a year, I'm open to creating new thoughts and beliefs around the possibility of making more than that with my business. Do you see how we shifted that? So instead of it being a finite, I will never, or I can't, or it's not possible, we're not entering a new belief that's like, well, I'm going to make $1 million in 6 months. Nope, that's not the point. Okay. We have to open up the possibility that it's true. Even though this is what I've experienced in the past, it doesn't mean that I can't have that going forward. I am open to creating that and more with a new mindset. Okay. So my favorite thing to do is catch myself thinking these things, even if it's in my head. I'll be like, cancel, cancel, delete, delete. And I re-say the phrase. You can say it in your mind. You can say it out loud, however you need to say it. You'll find that we have these thoughts and beliefs so many times throughout the day. It's almost maddening. You're like, oh my God, it's another belief. You're like, cancel, cancel, delete, delete. New phrase. Okay. The more that you do it, the less negative beliefs you'll have, the more positive beliefs you'll have. And this is not about just being positive versus negative. This is not just about glass half full versus glass half full, although it does play a big role. I'm going to use my husband as an example. Maybe you guys can relate to this. We're driving. I'm the passenger princess, okay? Sitting in the passenger side. And it's like I see the anger rising. I see the shoulders coming up to the neck. I see the what's the word? I see the annoyance that he has towards other drivers, right? Like someone will cut in front of him and he just gets so mad. And then he needs to be behind that person. I'm like, why? Why do you need to waste your time on using that energy to do that? Instead, like, it's okay. Yeah, that person made a crappy move, right? They made a silly move. But like, why do we need to use our energy to then get mad, to then make it a point that they see us behind them, so close to them, because we're like so mad? Why do we need to do that? And he gets so mad because he's like, it's not just about like, you're just going to be positive and like everything will go great. And I'm like, well, it is kind of like that. Like, it is kind of like that. When you put out good energy comes back to you. When you emanate, pretty sure that's the word I'm looking for. When you become the frequency, you've heard this, right? You've heard somebody say that, um, let's say you walked into a room and someone had just been having a fight. You can cut the air because it's so thick. I don't know how that saying goes. But like you feel the tension in the air. They're not talking anymore, but you walked into the room after these two people had a fight and you feel the energy. That's what you're feeling. You're feeling the frequency of the room. The frequency of the room is down here. It is heavy. It is ugly. Because these two people were just exchanging some words and it was nasty and it was ugly and the frequency is down here. And here you come like positive Polly walking into the room and you're like, "Whoo!" Like you walked into a thick wall because your frequency is up here and you walked into this frequency and it automatically brings you down. Automatically. Right? So you've felt that before. I don't know how I got on this tangent. But cancel, cancel, delete, delete is like my favorite thing to do. Okay? Pick up that habit. Start doing it when you recognize things that you say, you feel, you notice yourself doing. Maybe you're like, you set your alarm clock for 4 o'clock in the morning because you're going to get up and work on your business. And then the alarm clock goes off at 4 o'clock in the morning and you tell yourself, it's not even worth getting up because it's just not going to be successful. Like, I'm not going to get anything done. Someone's going to wake up in an hour, right? And you're already negative Nancy talking yourself out of things. Cancel, cancel, delete, delete. I'm going to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and I am going to take the time that is given to me to work my business. And if I get interrupted, I get interrupted. It's not the end of the world. But if I get up at 4, then I'll have more time to work my business than if I don't get up at 4. And if I get up at 4 and I work on my business, then my business will make progress. Okay. Cancel, cancel, delete, delete. The best thing ever. All right. So people have asked me, like, how do you cultivate a growth mindset every single day? How do you do that, Gwen? Like, do you just say, well, I wasn't a fixed mindset, but now I'm a growth mindset? I mean, no, it's not that simple, but yes, okay, awareness first, right? I told you I was going to say awareness a million times. Let me take a sip. So if the first step is being aware that it's happening, or aware that you have these beliefs, one way to start creating new beliefs, to start creating new channels in the sand, is to give yourself 10 minutes of silence every day. We don't have enough silence in this world, am I right? All the parents with kids just said heck yes out loud. They maybe even spit out their coffee. Like, we don't have enough silence in this world. We don't let ourselves think. We are constantly bombarded with noise, 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 like the radio is on, right? And we go down a deep, dark rabbit hole here, but I'm just going to remind you that everything we feed our body, including what we listen to, music, what we watch on the TV, is creating those channels. So if you don't like what you've created, then you need to stop doing what you're doing and start doing new things. One of them is allowing ourselves to have thoughts of our own without being influenced by other people's thoughts. A lot of us make, I'm creating this video during an election year. How many of us are influenced by commercials on TV? Why do they do them? Why do they do the ads? Well, because you hear something enough times and you, whether you notice it or not, start to believe things. Why do they send us mail? You get the same mail marketing message enough times, and you're going to start to remember that, and that's ingrained in your body. You watch the same news enough times, and you will start to believe. You watch the same social media channel enough times, and you will believe the message that's being told there. We don't let ourselves think or be. We are just busy, and the world is constantly flooding our thoughts, and that's intentional. Okay, not to go on a tangent, but that's intentional. Because when the world plays the beep, the world wants us to stand up and then sit back down. And then when the world plays the beep again, it wants us to stand back up and then sit back down. Okay, but we don't want that. So my challenge to you is to take 10 minutes to sit with yourself every single day. And I don't care if this means that you go into the bathroom and you don't bring your phone. That's probably going to be the biggest challenge for most of you. If I ask my husband to do that, it's like a fight because it's a time passer, right? But if you allow yourself, wherever you are, sitting outside, sitting in the bathroom, I don't care, to sit with your own thoughts, you will create new channels in your brain that you actually want there, in your body that you actually want there, right? And listen to me right now, parents, because I know that you're sitting there going, I don't have 10 minutes a day to have silence, and my kids are all over me. I get it. When I started meditating, I would be like, okay, kids, now my kids were little. I'm like, I'm going to go in my room and I'm going to meditate. First of all, they don't even know what that means. I don't want to be interrupted. Give me 10 minutes. What would happen 2 minutes later? I'd have a kid in there with me sitting down. I looked over here because this is where I used to sit, do my meditations on the floor. And a kid would come in my room and interrupt me and interrupt me what I thought. This is what I thought when I first started meditating. But I recognized, I was aware of a belief that meditation had to happen without interruption. And I was like, here's what I'm noticing though. My kids are curious about what I'm doing. Kids are curious. I want my kids to be curious. If my kid's not curious, like that's a bad day. Okay. I want my kid to be curious. So then I started realizing that my kids were coming in because they were curious about what I was doing. So what did I do? I created a new belief that meditation is just me sitting here with the intention to sit with myself. And if I was interrupted, it didn't mean the meditation was over. It didn't mean my meditation was unsuccessful. Because before I would have stopped. I would have been like, well, that's it. I'm interrupted. Now my train of thought is interrupted. I don't have silence anymore. Like my meditation is over. But that's not true. So I created a new belief system that meditation gets to be what I want meditation to look like. And if my kids are curious, I want them to come in and ask questions. I would sit here and pull cards. And so while I was sitting there with my eyes closed and just letting myself be in thought, and my kid was looking through my oracle cards, that's okay. If they were making noise next to me, that's okay. It doesn't get to mean that my meditation is over. Okay, so you get to write your own rules. This is something that I think a lot of people don't recognize. You get to write your own rules. Hallelujah. Because what are we told as kids in school? You ding, 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 a bell goes off, you switch classes, you do your homework, you sit down for 30 minutes, you can't move, you can't talk to your friends, you do the work, you get up, you go to the next classroom, you do it all over again, and then your day ends, and then you do it again for 4 days a week, and then you have the weekend off, and then you come back. And we're trained in that system, following everybody else's rules. But the truth is, as adults, as humans in this world, we get to write our own rules. Okay, so write your own rule for what meditation gets to look like for you. You don't have to sit with Gandhi on the TV or on your phone chanting, and you don't even have to listen to anything. You can listen to something. You can't. You could do guided meditation. You could do silent meditation. You could meditate outside. You could meditate inside. You could be interrupted. You could be not interrupted. You could have thoughts. You could have no thoughts. Like, it doesn't matter, but you have to give yourself the intentional time to listen to what your body wants to tell you. Okay? You have to give yourself a chance to be heard. Everyone just wants to be heard, but you're not listening to yourself. Raise your hand if you have ever been lying in bed and you've had some of your best ideas come to you at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and you're like, so you like reach over for the notepad and like one eye open, you're like, I have to write that idea down. Okay, back to sleep. Or like you pull out your phone, you're like, let me just type that into my notes real quick, right? Some of your best ideas come when you're just sitting in silence. We have to give ourselves space to breathe, okay? Awareness. We're coming back. Strengths and weaknesses. I'm going to give you a couple different sets of homework to do, not sets of homework, but things to reflect on and things to do if you want to improve your mindset. Okay, these things have been helpful for me. They've been helpful for my clients, and they have been things that have completely shifted people's businesses, including mine. So your first set of homework here is to make a list at what you're good at and also what you're not good at yet, which is important if you want to get better at that. Because if you make a list of what you're good at and you make a list of what you're not good at, and let's just say you're not good at baking. Let's just say, but you like don't really care about baking and you don't want to get good at baking. You don't have to. You don't have to. What can you do if you're not good at something and you don't actually want to get better at it? Can you hire that out? Can you pay someone to make you a cake? Yes, right? What about in business? What if you're not good at writing emails? Let's say you write your strengths down, you write your weaknesses down, and one of your weaknesses is writing emails. You feel like you're not good at it, but you want to get better at it. Can you get better at it? Yes, because now you're aware. Remember, you're in the waiting room where your emails are not that good. And you see the waiting room over there with different people in it, and their emails are killing it. People are opening their emails. They have like a 40% open rate. People are responding to their emails, and you're like, but I want to be in that waiting room. Okay. Can you enhance your skill set now? Do you know where your weakness is? You're aware where your weakness is, so you get to focus on that weakness to be in the other waiting room? Yeah. Now, what if you don't want to get good at emails? You want to hire someone out. You can pay someone to write your emails for you. Okay. But you need a list. You don't need a list. Let me take that back. I dislike the word need. I don't ever want to say to someone, you need to do this. That feels like parenting. And that brings me back to like parenting trauma response. You don't need to do anything. You can do whatever you want to. But my suggestion to you is awareness. If awareness is the most important skill that you have in your business, then it would be helpful for you to write a list of strengths and weaknesses so that you are aware of where you are strong and where you are weak and where you need improvement if you want to improve it. Right? Awareness is also, or I guess we also use awareness around influences. Who influences you? Who's in your circle? Who's in your world? Who are you letting influence your thoughts? Now, if you're a 12-year-old kid, like, yes, you have parents and you have to listen to them. You're probably not listening to this video, but if you are, parents serve a great purpose in our life. But we also learn a lot of things that our parents took from their previous generation that isn't really serving them, but they only know it because their parents brought it down to them. So they don't know otherwise. And so they bring it down to the next generation. I think there's some sort of statistic like that goes 7 layers deep. Okay. So like my dad taught me things that like 7 generations before him taught them. And it just trickled down and you just keep passing it on until someone breaks the generational timeline. Okay. So awareness of what skills you are good at and what skills you are not good at. This is life and business. Make a whole list about anything, life or business. All right. Also, take a look at the people in your life that influence you. Remove the things that influence you in a negative direction. News is the biggest culprit. I haven't watched the news in, I don't even know, 5, 6, 7 years, maybe. I, I don't need the news. The news is just a repeat of negative stories all day long. Remember, the more you hear something, and the news is repetitive, the news at 10 is the same news as the news at 12, and the same news as the news at 3, all the same stories. And the more you hear it, the more you believe it. Remove the things that are a negative influence on you and your life and the way that you want to live. People are the hardest ones, right? There are some people who you can't remove completely from your life, but you can limit your interaction with them. Let's say someone in your family really just does not bring out the best in you, and you don't desire to spend a lot of time with them, but Christmas is coming up, or any holiday is coming up, and you know they're going to be at the holiday function, and you want to go to the holiday function. Okay, but you really don't like spending time with this person. Well, how can you set a boundary to limit your time you spend with this person, right? I'm going to go to the Christmas party and I am going to spend X amount of time there. Okay. 8 to 10. And at 10 p.m., I'm going to go home because that's my boundary. And even if someone's like, oh, come on, Gwen, stay a while, and you don't want to stay, you stick to your boundary because you know how interacting with that person is going to influence you and you don't want to. Okay. Okay. Something else that we get to do. I'm going to give you another action step because I think this is really fun. You can create a mindset mantra. This is just a personal statement to reset your thoughts when you have any kind of self-doubt come in. And I like to say, I am creating, or I'm on my way to creating. So I have a personal mantra that says, I'm creating a life of wealth beyond my wildest dreams by becoming everything I've ever wanted to be in this lifetime or more. I'm going to say that again. I'm creating a life of wealth beyond my wildest dreams by becoming everything I've ever wanted to be in this lifetime or more. That gives me infinite possibilities. I'm creating it. Every day I wake up, I am creating this life. Every single day. Okay. I also fully believe in this statement. The more I love myself, the more fun I have. And the more fun I have, the more I love myself. And the more expansive my business becomes. My mom is a fine artist. And she used to tell me all the time, when you're too close to your work, you're painting on an easel, you're too close, you're drawing, whatever your art is, and I'm metaphorically speaking, right? It doesn't have to be physical art, it could be anything that you're working on. But she used to tell me, When you're frustrated and you feel like you're not making progress or things are getting worse, you have to take a step away and come back later. Okay, so she used to tell me all the time, like, go walk away and come back later. And myself, as a generator by human design, okay, I'm literally the workhorse. I'm like supposed to do, 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 do. That was silly. Supposed to work, 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 work. Right? Like, that's what I'm here to do. To tell me that I need to go take a break without finishing the thing was like, I can't do that. But you can. And I'm here to tell you that you can. And I'm here to tell you that it will actually serve you better if you do, regardless of what human design you are. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm like a human design junkie. I love this topic. I'll go off on a tangent on another day. But basically, there are 5 designs of people, and it's based on the time and date you were born and where the planets and the energy and the solar system was. It's not birth signs. Okay, it is so much more than that. And then you are given this design, one of 5 designs. And I'll tell you what, understanding my design helped me understand how to be a better mom, how to be a better business person, how to be a better friend in relationships, how to understand my kids better. Because if I know how I'm designed and how I best function, and then I know how my kids are designed and how they best function, well, now we have this like beautiful relationship because I can see, okay, she doesn't function well under stress. And I'm here saying, we gotta go, we gotta rush, come on, get out the door. And she doesn't function well under stress, but I'm trying to put that on her. I get to take a step back and I'm aware of how I am not helping my projector child feel good, right? And it goes so much further than that, but that's human design. So as a generator, as someone who like is meant to do the work, I'm the Energizer Bunny of the world. If you tell me to take a break, I'm like, I can't take a break. I haven't finished this yet. Okay, but it truly is something that will help you. I want to start something and see it through in one full swoop. But that's not always the best. Okay. So whenever my clients come to me and they say, when I'm just not feeling creative, like I'm having a hard time writing my emails and it feels like my social media isn't flowing, my content's not flowing. And do you know what I tell them? I almost hate myself for this. No, I don't. I don't. Cancel, 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 delete, delete. I don't. I don't hate myself. But it makes me laugh. I tell them to go take a break and go do something fun for themselves and come back later. Who grew up thinking the only way to succeed was with hard work? And fun was not a part of the equation. If I was having fun, it meant I was goofing off. Okay, there was no fun in work. It was either or. And that's what we're taught in school too. Our kids are taught, like, you can't have fun. No, you got to sit down and do your work. Then you can be rewarded with fun. But what if you're frustrated and you're in the moment and nothing progressive is happening with what you're doing? I give you permission to give yourself permission to stand up and walk away and go do something fun and come back later. Because I guarantee you, the more fun you have, the more you'll love yourself. The more you love yourself, the more fun you have, and the more success you'll have in your business. Okay. Now, one of the biggest questions that I get around mindset is like, how do you trust that what you're doing is the right thing? And I ask myself this question so many times. I've hired so many coaches, I paid for so many coaching programs. And the thing that I would ask them is, how do I know? How do I know that I'm on this path? I'm doing this thing. How do I trust myself that this is the correct action versus like, what if I'm doing all the wrong steps? And this is something, and all my coaches would tell me, you gotta trust the process. You gotta trust the process, man. And I like, oh, in April of 2023, I was like, if one more person tells me to trust the process, I'm gonna lose my mind. I'm gonna lose my mind. What does that even mean? And now I understand. Okay. Now I understand. Right here, right now, we decide that in this group, there is no other option but success. There is no other option but success. We remove the timeline and we remove the things that are outside of our control. And instead, we focus on the things that we can control. Is your content not landing? Are people not commenting? Okay, well, then your messaging is off. Can you work on your hook? Can you work on your copy? Can you work on your messaging? Can you focus on getting better on your content? Testing it and seeing what happens. Testing it again and seeing what happens. Testing it again and seeing what happens. Can you do that? Can you control that part of your business? Yes, right? You can't control the daily dollar amount that you make, when a post goes viral, or how many followers you're going to get in X amount of days, or how much money you'll make in 2 months. You don't have control over that. So we get to release control of the things that we can't control and have more fun, right? If you don't already know that you are your best asset, then let me remind you. Sorry. Let me remind you. Um, that's why you're here, right? That's why you're here creating something that you want to create, not something that neighbor Tom was like, oh, you should do this. Like, you should be here because this is something that you want to create. And you are your best asset to create it. And you have all the power in you to create it. Because if you desire it, it's already available up in the universe. You get to pull it down to you. You just get to become an energetic match for it. All the things that we've talked about so far in solidifying this growth mindset is helping you become an energetic match. When you remove these negative people from your life, when you remove the negative influences from your life, what happens to your frequency? I'm a hand talker and I just gave you the answer. I was like, when your frequency when negativity comes in, your frequency goes down. When you remove these things, your frequency goes out, right? You're a plant. You're a plant. Your self-trust are your roots. If you don't trust that you have the capability to build something profitable, then you will never build something profitable. But you don't just wake up one day and trust that you can build something profitable. It takes practice. And all of the things that we've talked about so far, awareness of where you are, focusing on the areas that you're not strong at and working to make them better, removing the negative influences from your life, the negative thoughts, practicing those things on a daily basis, sitting with your own thoughts in silence for 10 minutes a day. All of those things are practicing self-trust. Because you will wake up and you will realize every single day, you will realize more and more that you are capable. Maybe you don't believe it now, and that's okay. That's okay. That's why you're here. But you are capable. I know it, right? And I don't, like I said, I don't like to say the word need, like you need to do this. I don't like to say the word like you should do this because at the end of the day, this is your business, your choice, right? But in entrepreneurship, you must release perfectionism. I'm going to tell you right now. You must release perfectionism. I will write a book one day about this because I'm fascinated by people in business and their story to success. But most of the stories that I hear from people who've had success, big or small, right, are things like, oh, I made the first product in my living room and it wasn't perfect, but I launched it. Mm-hmm. I didn't know what I was doing, but I did it anyway. I figured it out along the way. Or I made my first product in my living room by flashlight eating a can of SpaghettiOs when I had $0 to my name, right? These people, the success that they created, they knew they could create success. They believed in themselves so deeply that they never gave up on the process of learning to get better. They knew that it was okay for the first thing that they created to not be perfect and to also know at the same time that they can improve. Do you know Jamie Lee? I think it's Jamie Lee Kern. I think Kern is her last name. I'm really horrible with like celebrity names, people names. Jamie Lee Kern has a story about making a foundation to cover her rosacea. She had really bad rosacea. She tried all the foundations, like everything everyone always recommended to her. Sorry, I sit on a bouncy ball at my desk, and so that's what you're hearing. Um, she had tried all the foundations that said they covered rosacea. They didn't work. She was super frustrated. She was just tired of feeling blotchy and being self-conscious about her skin. So she created one in her living room in her apartment. Do you know how many times she was denied anyone to even look at her product? Hundreds of times. Hundreds of times she heard no before landing a spot on QVC and freaking selling out. Hundreds of times she was told no. Some of you have 40 pieces of content and you're wondering why you haven't gone viral or made a sale. Trust that you have the answer for someone. If that's only one person right now, I don't care. But trust that you've got the answer for someone. Just one person. And trust that your business will be successful. And if you don't trust it, that's okay. Work on getting there. How do you work on getting there? All those things we talked about before, right? Your actions, your thoughts, your beliefs, the people who you surround yourself with, the people you let influence you, your consumption of everything, sound, talking, music, TV, what you let in, you will reflect. If you want to build what you reflect, then you create the standard, right? You create the baseline. You put your roots in the ground and you build yourself from the bottom up. This is a practice every single day. With the cancel, cancel, delete, delete, with removing the things that affect us negatively, with actively making those new sand channels, which by the way, I had to look up, they're called Rill marks, like RILL or grill without the G. Oh, that's so funny. Grill marks. These marks in the sand are called rill marks. Okay, phenomenal. Or channels, right? Jamie Lee went back to the drawing board every time she got denied. And what did she do? She looked at what was within her control. Was her makeup foundation solid? Like, was the formula solid? Could she improve it? If she could, then she went and she did that. Was her pitch solid? Could she improve it? If she could, then she went and she improved it and she tried again. She did it, then she tried again. She did it, then she tried again. She did hundreds of times. If you have ultimate belief in yourself and in what you're selling or promoting, then you will keep going. One of the things that this is my last 2 points. One of the things that I think is really important and that we don't do enough and we're really not taught to do is to celebrate every single win. Every single win. Okay? Every single day before my feet hit the floor, I do not get out of bed without reciting 5 things to myself that I'm grateful for. Okay, my eyes are so closed. I haven't even opened them yet. I'm like, I am grateful for the sun shining today, even if I don't even know what it looks like outside. Okay. I'm grateful for the sun shining today. I'm grateful for my kids. I'm grateful for the food that is going to nourish my body. I'm grateful for the people in my life who love me, and I'm grateful for me. Okay. And then I can get out of bed. How long did that just take me? 2 seconds. What do most of us do when we wake up? What is that doing? Before we even get out of bed, what are we doing with our belief system? We're letting other people influence our belief system. You have to become the creator of your life, and you have to be in control of what you believe and what you can create. Okay? Just like you set a schedule for posting, you set a schedule for reflecting and gratitude and mindset work. And yes, it's work. And yes, it takes time. How do you know it's working? You find yourself saying cancel, cancel, no, cancel, cancel, delete, delete, less and less. You find yourself having to correct yourself less. You find yourself happier, healthier, maybe even looking brighter. Your frequency will change inside your body and you will glow. You will glow. Okay? I promise you, you will change how you look on the outside. People have healed themselves. I know that's such like a no word. Um, but truly, through shifting their mindset, just their thoughts and their beliefs have healed their bodies. Okay, so you're capable of creating a successful business. Celebrate every little thing. Get in the habit of doing that all the time. Maybe you even say it at bedtime. You know, you turn to your partner, what are you celebrating today? I'm celebrating not having to say cancel, cancel, delete, delete 20 times. Only 19 today, right? Whatever you want to celebrate, I don't care. You celebrate something. You celebrate something. Okay, here's my very last point. Your body knows the answer. Okay, your body already knows. Your gut and your intuition is very, very strong. It's a muscle that you train. Just like going to the gym and working out and your muscles get bigger, you you get to train your intuition. I could preach about feeding your body good foods just as much as good thoughts, just as much as good products. What you feed your body. You are a plant. If you want the plant to grow big and strong and produce a lot of fruit, then you need to fill it with vitamins and minerals and water and talk nicely to it. Have you guys seen the study they've done on plants? They've done a study on plants, talking to plants, like two sets of plants. This is crazy. It sounds crazy. I get it. I know. But it is so true. You can even think about this with kids. Let me talk to you about it with plants first. So one set of plants, they talk nicely to the plants, they water the plants, they gave the plants food. They were like, I love you plants, you're amazing, you're gonna grow so big and strong, and I'm so proud of you, blah, blah, blah. These plants, they were like, F off. I can't believe I have to water you again. You're such a pain in my butt, blah, 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 blah. Which plants grew better? Same amount of nutrients, same amount of food, same amount of water, same amount of sun. Positive words, negative words. Which plants grew better? The positive ones. Dr. I think Emote, did a water experiment and the power of words. There's a YouTube video on it. You can go YouTube it. He did the effect of the molecules in water with negative and positive words, and you can physically see the difference in the molecules. He shows the shape of the water molecules change depending on the words using positive or negative. Ah! What about our kids? Okay, I know you can all think about a kid right now who's, okay, maybe not all. If you're a parent and you have your own kids, you probably can think about a kid that your kid has told you about has not been nice to them. Or you were a kid at one point. Can you think about a kid who was not nice to you in school? Did you ever meet their parents? Kids don't turn out not nice just because. Okay, kids are a direct result of how they are brought up, how they are talked to, how they are treated. If you constantly tell your kid that you're proud of them, and I'm not saying, again, this is not about being foo-foo positive all the time. Okay, this is about being intentional with how we live. If you feed your kids thoughts, I'm proud of you. Wow, you did so great here. These are the things that I'm reflecting on. I love you. You're a light in my life. I'm so glad I had you. Versus, you're such a pain. You're so loud. Stop talking. Shut up. You're so annoying, right? And like guilty as charged, right? As parents, I know how it feels to get to that threshold of like, I can't take it anymore, and words come out that we don't mean. Maybe you do mean them. I don't know. But we do get to this threshold. And I do like to try to remind myself, like, I'm a direct influence. However I treat my kid is how my kid's going to turn around and treat other people, how my kid's going to turn around and see themselves. So if I'm telling my kid I see them as an annoyance, as they're too loud, then my kid's going to turn around and see themselves as an annoyance and as too loud, and they're probably not going to speak up for themselves. I don't want that. Okay. We know how our parenting influences our kids. Also, we can parent ourselves. Okay. Your gut, your body is actually, I could go off on a tangent on this. Your gut is actually your first brain, not this guy. Nope. Most people think thoughts come from here and they send it to here. Thoughts come from here and we send it to here. Isn't that crazy? Thoughts come from here or gut. This is why I say what you feed your body matters. Okay. Successful people make quick decisions because they're in tune with their gut. And again, this takes practice. Practice. Try it. Try it with going out to eat. Let's say your partner's like, hey, babe, where do you want to go out to eat? And you're like, oh, I don't know. And you really kind of do know. Well, just make it. How about you sit quiet for a second and you go, where would I like to go out to eat? Oh, let's go for pizza. Like if you just give yourself a second to listen to your body will tell you. Okay. You can do it with anything. Try it with where do you want to go for a car ride? Sit, give yourself a minute to think, listen to your body, and then make the decision. Practice sitting down and ask yourself how you feel and literally waiting until you feel or hear the answer. I like to practice with my breath. A lot of times, like if we're too in our head, we're just like overstimulated and we're overwhelmed and we've gotten to this heightened state of stress. What happens here? If you're a parent, you know, you freak out, right? You make a rash decision that doesn't make sense. So if we're here and we're like, we're ready to freak out, I like to remind myself that my breath is my best healer. I read a lot of Joe Dispenza. If you haven't read any Joe Dispenza books, please do that. He's got two really big ones. Just start with one and read it. It's so good. So I close my eyes. You need to get grounded to make a decision. If you need to get grounded because you're letting the fact that your reel got 40 views and it's the second day in a row that your reel's at 40 views, if you're letting that get to you, here's how to bring it back down. You close your eyes. You take the deepest breath in through your nose, okay? And I imagine it in my head as the breath like literally coming up through the root of the floor. Like I am grounded, I'm the roots in the system, and the breath that I'm bringing in is coming all the way up to the top of my head. And when I picture that the breath is here through my nose, I hold it there for a couple of seconds and I almost like I tighten everything because I want the breath to get up here. This is where my enlightenment is. I want it to come all the way up and be enlightened. And so I picture it there and I hold it there and I like tighten my core and I'm like holding this thought here, this breath. And then when I'm ready, I open my mouth and I release it all. Whatever I don't need, I release out into the universe. And you do that a couple times, you will change your heart rate. You'll change your breathing. You'll change how you feel. Okay? Breath is magical. Your breath is a tool that you were given. We breathe how many times a day and we don't even realize that we're doing it, but it's keeping us alive. If you stop to pay more attention to it, it will help heal you, your thoughts, your beliefs, your patterns, everything. Reflect on, oh, this is a good homework. I'll give you all these homeworks in one spot so you remember. Reflect on a time that you trusted yourself and you succeeded. Also reflect on a time when you didn't trust yourself and what you learned. This is the importance of the journey, okay? Because the biggest thing that people always ask me is like, how do I trust the journey though? How do I know that the journey is the good journey and that I'm not just like veering off on some random path? We are not a microwave. I don't know if you've noticed. We are not a microwave. We are not a quick fix, especially if we've been trained this certain way and ingrained with these beliefs over years and years and years, and we're just now deciding to make a change. Just like going to the gym and building muscle, just like losing weight, just like being flexible. Or not flexible, but you want to be flexible, right? It's not going to happen overnight. Especially here in this community, we're teaching you skills that long term will bring you what you desire in life and in business. I'm going to say that again. In this community that we've created, we're teaching you skills that long term will bring you what you desire in life and business. Because remember, it already exists. Future you already has it. You just get to call it down to you. But it's not going to happen tonight or tomorrow. It's not going to happen overnight. but it will happen. Accepting and embracing failure as good. How many times did Edison fail when inventing the light bulb? Right? There's so many numbers all over the internet. It's like 1,000, 10,000, 2,700 times. I don't know, but it was a lot, right? I don't know if you remember JC in this community, but he had posted that he had finally reached 10,000 followers. It took him 1,000 posts to get there. Now, some people saw that and thought, gosh, it took him 1,000 posts to get to 10,000 followers. That seems like a long time. And then other people said, oh my gosh, it only took him 1,000 posts to get to 10,000 followers. Regardless, 10,000 followers is monumental. Imagine if he took his foot off the gas at the 500th post. What would have happened? What would have happened? Right? He would have never gotten there. He could have been at 500 followers at the 500th post. If he took his foot off the gas, he would have never gotten to 10,000. He would have been at 500 followers. The end. He would have quit at 500 followers. What? What? Most of you have 40 posts and you're wondering why you haven't gone viral or made a sale or taken off yet. Okay? Remember, you're not failing as long as you are actively pursuing progress, as long as you are actively pursuing getting better in the areas that you might not be great at. Okay? Whenever something happens in my life or my business, I like to ask myself why. What lesson is here for me? Now, in April of 2023, when we had to take our girls out of gymnastics because we couldn't afford to pay for them to be in there, and I cried so many nights because that was honestly the most painful decision I think I've had to make as a parent. And I know that, well, I was going to say, I know that sounds trivial, but it doesn't actually. It doesn't, because if as a parent, we just want our kids to succeed, we want them to have fun, we want them to do things they love, and to have to take your kids out of a sport that they love and they are good at is really painful. Because I couldn't financially be responsible to be able to afford that for my kids. That made me feel like a crappy parent. I asked myself, what is the lesson here? Like, why is this lesson arriving in front of me? And I didn't know in the moment. Okay, but if you know my story, if you followed me at all, you know that I took a picture that day of me crying, which is stupid, right? Like we all think like that's so stupid, but I knew in that moment, I knew that I would want that picture to reflect back because I knew that this was going to make a great story one day. I just didn't know what the lesson was in the moment. I took a picture and I posted it and I was like, this is going to make a great story one day. I didn't know how or why or what, but I knew that it would. It wasn't until later on that I realized the lesson that I was meant to learn. Okay, let me share that with you. The lesson I was meant to learn was that I had to learn how to respect money. Okay, I had to learn how to be a good doobie with my dollars. I had to be intentional with my finances. I couldn't just sit back and just assume that everything would be fine as I'm putting things on credit cards and wake up one day and like, what, the credit card's going to be paid off? You know? No, one day I woke up and like, we had no money. I had to learn how to be intentional with my dollars. And the lesson wasn't just with cash, it was with my life too. I had to respect myself. I had to be intentional with my goals and what I wanted my life to look like. And so I started doing that. Started being intentional with making moves, started being intentional with my money. And what happened? You guys know how the story ended. I created a multiple six-figure business in less than a year. What's the lesson? Okay. If you need to find, we've created a supportive system here, right? We've created a supportive environment, a supportive system. If you need to find an accountability partner, just ask. Ask someone. Sean and I will lift you up every single day. We will believe in you stronger than you believe in yourself until you adopt that belief yourself. We know what's possible for you. We know what's possible for you. Whew, that was a lot. We talked a lot about mindset, and I'm hoping that this is helping you understand what mindset looks like, how to use it, how to implement it in your business, how to implement it in your life, how to literally change your frequency so that you become a magnetic match for what you desire. And I hope that you understand that you are capable of creating whatever life you want to create for however much time you have here on earth. Let me list out the couple of homework things that I gave you guys throughout this video, and I'll also put them below so that you can reference them and do them. 1, create your mindset mantra, a personal statement to reset your thoughts when self-doubt creeps in. 2, make a list of what you're good at and what you're not good at yet. Okay. 3, reflect on a time that you trusted yourself and succeeded, and also reflect on a time that you didn't succeed and what you learned. 4, develop a no quitting plan. I didn't say this, but I'm going to say it now. Develop a no quitting plan. Write down key moments when you'll be tempted to quit and how you'll handle them. You are future proofing your success. Think about times where you might be overly stressed, overwhelmed, times where you would be most likely to give up, and how you're going to handle them now that you know this mindset exists. And then last but not least, this is your final project. You don't have to do these all at once, but these are great things to do for yourself. Write a letter to your future self. Remind yourself of what you've committed to and how you're going to stay with the process. Super important. Write it as your future self already there, like it already has happened. This is not a future letter like, I want my business to be making $1 million in a year. No, this is future you writing to you to say, I can't, no, cancel, cancel, delete, delete. My business is now profiting enough money to cover all my bills and extra. My business allows me to make choices that I want to make without hesitating. My business allows me to go to the grocery store and pick the organic food without having to look at the prices. My business, let me go back. I have quit my full-time job and am now running my business full-time. And it feels, how does it feel? It feels so good. It feels powerful. It feels enlightening. It feels, how does it feel? Write this letter to you as your future self, as if it's already happened. I love you guys, and I hope this was super helpful. If you have comments or questions, please let me know. If you need further explanations on things, please let me know. But this is my pride and joy. I love this stuff. It has helped me so much. And if I didn't work on mindset, I wouldn't be able to be here. Remember me, my younger sister used to speak for me. Hey, and now I speak on stages. This is crazy and also not crazy and totally possible. Okay. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you later.